Hi everybody, and welcome to Raising Vibrations with myself, Simon. Today, what I'm going to be doing is just basically chatting with everyone today. I feel that my sort of YouTube channel has got a lot to offer in terms of astrology teachings and such. And sometimes I just feel like communicating with everyone basically, and just sharing some insights and perspectives that I have on my own personal life, my own spirituality, and also sharing with you something that I downloaded today, actually. I've been asking this question for at least the last 2 weeks. I've been really trying to get to the bottom of what this symbolism means within the natural zodiac, and so what I'm going to be doing today is just chatting some of the thoughts that I have, and going through a little bit of what Raising Vibrations is doing at this stage, maybe what's happening in my personal life, an overall chat, and then sharing with you basically this new download that I got. That's quite interesting, actually. What I've been basically doing at the moment is waiting for my new daughter to arrive. In fact, I'm in this space where I'm working a lot in terms of getting a lot of work done, should I say, so that I can have that time off when she does arrive, which will be really shortly. So I've been working on that, and one of the things that I was specifically working on is the Saturn return. And a big focus and intention that I've been basically having with regards to the Saturn return article and video that I'm going to be sharing with everyone is taking the idea of how Saturn has been understood, showing you how the zodiac is naturally set up, and then really trying to encourage you to see the Saturn return or the Saturn cycles in your life as something that really can get some awesome evolution and can really get you amped up to see how this cycle actually brings an incredible amount of growth. And it's definitely one of my favorites, even though it has been perceived and has been labeled as something that's difficult and, oh no, my Saturn return's coming along, or I'm having a Saturn square, this sucks. In a sense, it is a really challenging aspect. But if you have the right thought forms within your consciousness, if you're understanding it correctly, then you just go about your day with regards to the Saturn energy in your life, integrating it into your life, and really being able to access some of the coolest stuff that this vibration does actually have to offer. Now, for myself, I have a lot of Capricorn in my chart, even though I'm not actually Capricorn myself. My sun sign is Scorpio, rising sign is Aquarius, for any of you guys, or any of you that wants to know more about my astrology chart. So I have that there, but I've got Pluto, I've got the Sun, and I've got Saturn and Mercury, in fact, all in the 10th house. Okay, and that pretty much is a Capricorn signature in that way. So I'm not sort of foreign to the understanding of Capricorn in my own chart. I see it within myself. I can tell you right now that it's an incredibly difficult energy to work with when especially when it comes to understanding its true nature. I think that's maybe the reason as to why I'm creating this video for everyone, is because through my own struggles of not having that awareness completely, I found it that way. So I can understand why it has been labeled sometimes really sort of challenging in that way, and I use those words very carefully, because I don't want to be constantly perpetuating the idea that it sucks or that there's something difficult about it, and because we tend to reject a lot of the things that are intrinsic to our life on Earth. In fact, by the way, guys, I just need to let you know that as I'm talking to you right now, I'm constantly having a stream of consciousness flow through me. So if I'm changing subjects, if I'm hopping sort of train tracks in that way, it's literally because I'm tuning into different vibrations all the time. But I will always bring it back. So just follow, okay? And I'll try my best to kind of structure it in a way that gives you guys a better understanding of where he's going, because essentially this is me. You're talking, you're listening to me, and you're literally getting access into the nature of how my consciousness floods through, and how I'm constantly having these thought forms just, go like this and take me on this journey of constantly following the roots. Like, what are you showing me here? What are you showing me over here? Okay, there's that there. Does it make sense? Yes, it does. Okay. Anyway, see what I mean? So I'm coming back to that point. So like I was saying, is that now I've completely lost it. Oh, the irony. Coming back to the thought forms and the Capricorn stuff, and creating the Saturn, video in that way, or at least sharing with you guys what that Saturn energy is about. Right, so let me ground myself quickly, and let's see if I can get this back again. So I was talking specifically about that, right? And I bet you guys are sitting at this point in time, if everybody's sitting at there and going like, I know what he was talking about. Come on. I'm trying to force it. So let me change the subject here a little bit. One of the things that I wanted to also show you guys in this video is the solar returns. Okay. This is really, really interesting. One of the pieces that I wanted to integrate into this video for everyone was the solar returns and how important they actually are. So recently, I took one of the books that I work with, Jeffrey Wolf Green's Pluto 1, and I was reading through the solar returns and really trying to digest what was actually being described here, and then see the relevance in my own life as well as other people's, and so on and so forth. And it was actually pretty profound how the placement of Pluto in your solar return chart can have, it actually reveals to you quite an incredible amount of stuff that's going to transmute for you during that year period. So the first thing that I want to do is encourage everybody to really go, if you know what your chart is and so on, to go onto Astrogene Test, select the it's not the birthplace, but your chart, and select the place that you are currently existing in. So for instance, with myself, I'm currently situated in Sweden, but my birthplace was South Africa. So choose the birthplace, choose the location where you are right now. Okay. And then and then choose the solar return chart as well. And then look at that placement. And the placement of Pluto in that year, so for instance mine, I'm going from 2014 to 2015, my Pluto is in the 6th house. Okay, and I've noticed that the placement of Pluto in the 6th house resembles self-improvement. It's correlating to healing, it's correlating to really cleansing, it's correlating to the nature of basically looking inwardly within yourself and recognizing everything that you would like to basically improve, restructure, refurbish, and so on and so forth. And I've noticed that within my own sort of since October this year, I've noticed that while just doing the videos, the writing that I've done, loads of people have given me lots of feedback that have given me the opportunity to actually self-improve in the way that I'm doing things, which is brilliant, because at the end of the day, not only is Source actually working through other people and basically offering me guidance in a way that can improve the nature of what it is that I'm creating, but it is also giving me that opportunity to refurbish and restructure, and I'm getting that 6th house transit. So that's pretty amazing. So I highly recommend that you go out and you check the placement of Pluto in your 6th house. Now the thing, or placement of Pluto in the 6th house, but placement of Pluto. The thing though is that part of that experience will be that you won't really know exactly what Pluto in that house placement will mean, which I suspect that won't be really helpful to you. However, I do encourage you to go out and, discover some information on the internet about the solar return placement of Pluto. If you're interested, I do actually do the report where I've basically digested and looked at the astrology, and I actually do reports on the solar returns. So if you guys are interested, and if you are specifically wanting to know more about it, then send me an email and say to me that you want to book one of those sessions, and we can do that for you. But like I said, I highly recommend it. And what I've also noticed is that I've looked at the solar returns for 2013 to 2014, and then 15, and then 16. And there's actually this interesting synchronicity where what happens is you go through this Saturn cycle, or pardon me, this Pluto cycle of the first house, and it gives you a new direction. Then all of a sudden you have a Pluto in the 10th house, and it gives you redefinition. And then you have Pluto in the 6th, and that's sort of like, healing yourself relative to those new changes that are taking place. So there's actually quite a lot of like interesting synchronicities that are taking place, and it's given me, like I said, a lot of encouragement to recognize this. And so I want to share it with you in that sense. I highly recommend it in that way. So yeah. The interesting thing is that you'll definitely come to know a different Simon than, or raising vibrations. As you can see, I've got a lot of things that are going on at this point in time that are changing in that sense. So come October 2015 and later on this year, I bet there's going to be lots of new structures in place, lots of new containers in which I can actually share a lot of the information that I'm sharing with you right now in a way that is constructive, which is cool. So as I've been speaking to you guys about that, I've also at the back of my mind tried to reconnect with the space that I was speaking to you guys earlier about, but I couldn't quite connect to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically continue with the Saturn idea. So the Saturn was labeling it as something that is sometimes really, really difficult to experience, like I said. And we do naturally, and I think this is where I was, we do naturally label things in a negative way because it's not ideal for us in that sense. And that idealism gives us that opportunity to, or not, it gives us that potential to feel that whenever Saturn comes around and he says, hey, by the way, like this old container that you're operating in needs to change so that you can create this new container to exist within, that does require a lot of work and building, and many of us live in a life, or live in a lifestyle, pardon me, that has things done for us automatically, and we tend to kind of like look at life and say, well, if it requires a lot of hard work or dedication or self-consistency in that way, then I might not be necessarily up for that, which is the wrong attitude to take when it comes to Saturn, because he's like, no, actually, I have this beautiful thing for you over here, but you're going to have to build stuff, or you're going to have to work at stuff. You're going to have to try that very monotone type of behavior of consistency every single day. So yeah, I want to reconstruct the way that we see Saturn, and that was the article that I was busy creating. So what I want to do is I'm going to move over to a slide, okay, or two slides that I've created for you. And I want to specifically show you how this natural zodiac, in other words, the zodiac itself, the constellations, how it's constructed, reflects to us the dynamic of how Saturn operates within our lives and how we actually evolve. And to really convey some of the interesting dynamics that we experience when we have Saturn cycles in our lives. So I'm going to go over to that right now. So here is the natural zodiac, okay? And as you can see, I've created some lines over here and aspects, and these aspects reflect relationships between signs within the astrology chart, okay? So as you can see, this is Aries right in the beginning, this is Cancer, this is Libra, this is Capricorn and such. And these are all the signs. This is the natural zodiac, okay? In terms of their evolutionary relationship to each other. In other words, Aries go out, Taurus come in, Gemini express out, and so on and so forth. So this, and please forgive me for drawing the thing in a way that might not be perfectly symmetrical for all my Virgo friends out there, including my own Virgo. So this is what I wanted to show you, and what we have here is the relationship to Capricorn, to Pisces, to Scorpio, and then the relationship that Pisces has to Scorpio, and then has to Cancer in the birth chart, and then of course Cancer and in its opposition towards Capricorn. And this symbolism, this diamond shape over here, in my opinion, based on the downloads that I received today and what I've been asking for, is how do we as human beings naturally transform form, okay? How do we transform form? How does it work within consciousness? And so the Zodiac gave me the answer in that sense. So the first thing that I need to give you guys in terms of understanding this is the recognition of what these symbols mean. So I'm going to start with Pisces. Pisces reflects ultimately everything that is dissolving, everything that is unbinding, everything that loses its shape in order to return back to the essence of what it originally was. Okay? Now, this is something that can be very difficult to comprehend using linear process, because Pisces in itself is everything and it is nothing. So to explain something that has an ego is very difficult when understanding something that has no essence, that has no ego, because that is exactly what Pisces is. It is an egoless form of something. It is the essence of something without any definition. Okay? So, like the ocean, for instance, can reflect that because it is the formlessness. Water is a great example again of that. It takes the form and shape of everything, but its essence is liquid. You get the point I'm trying to make. So the Cancerian archetype reflects nurture, okay, and it also reflects security. And by those two behaviors, the manifestation in human form is the basic understanding of security. And our security is everything that we experience that is known. Okay, does that make sense? So through self-consistency, through the experience of continuously experiencing something and creating nurturing and safety, we have security. Okay, so every single day I do the same thing. You go to your job every single day, you do the same thing. It provides you security because it's the known. It's something that has manifested. It's something that you have essential knowing of, and so therefore it's empowering in that way. Okay, security, Cancer. Self-image then becomes the essence of that. Okay, so through the human condition, our self-image, how we are inwardly relating to ourselves in every single moment based on the feeling of security that we have within us. Okay, and then we have Scorpio. Now, Scorpio has many definitions, but the essence of it, without any sort of human interaction, okay, and even me saying this in itself is very limiting in that way because I'm still defining it or still giving an ego in order for us to comprehend it. All right, the ego contains the information in order for us to comprehend it. But the essence of Scorpio in that sense is the fixation and attachment, and then the breaking free of that, the relationship to something that has been formed, okay, and the process of breaking that. So this is why death will be associated with Scorpio in that way, because it's the merge, it's the letting go of something, okay, which is why Scorpio always correlates to the abandonment and betrayal of something because it has been removed. So in that sense, now what I want to show you guys here is that evolution, okay, reflects the natural process from going anti-clockwise around here. So you link your spirituality, Neptune, okay, your consciousness to your egocentric structure that allows you to then, through the confrontation of your limitations, allow for renewal. So you constantly are being challenged of the things that you are known as you confront them, Scorpio, because Scorpio confronts stuff to tell you that this is where you have a security attachments, and then you dissolve them through the Pisces archetype. You let them go. I hope that's clear, guys, in that way. So this natural cycle of the water trine, okay, and this is what it's called, the water trine. That natural cycle reflects the ongoing evolution of something, the dissolving of something, okay, or should I say the container, consciousness into the container, that then reflects the way that we evolve through the connection between our limitations, constantly confronting our limitations and evolving through them. That then leads to the dissolving of old thought forms into new. Okay? That's that natural zodiac expression over there. Right? We confront our securities, we let them go, they dissolve, and then we return back to the security again. Yeah. We attach our spirituality to our ego that is linked with the nature of our desires in that way. And that drives the natural process of connecting to our spirituality. Right. Now, in terms of Capricorn, because Capricorn has a natural connection there's a natural connection with time and the physical, right? This is the thing that you need to understand about this drawing in that sense, is Capricorn correlates to protection and definition. Okay, so again, the bark of a tree protects the inside, it's the definition, the house that you have, the outside is the carapace, the skin is your definition, and so on and so forth. So because Capricorn correlates to physical reality, Saturn, physical reality, and also the reflection of definition and something and how things are covered, you see that there's a natural connection between the physical container, so the glass. So if you imagine a glass, okay, that you hold, it contains, right, water, and that's what Capricorn and Cancer's relationship is into the astrology chart. The nature of something inside of it that is being defined. Okay. Now, what happens here is that in human form, we have a specific container, i.e. conditioning, a specific model, structure of reality that exists within us. And up until the age of 29, we have this really shaped for us. We really have this we absorb stuff, up until the age of 29, you're really absorbing the nature of what life is about. You're still a kid in that sense. You're absorbing, you're getting all the information in and so on and so forth. And then what happens at the age of 28, 29 is that this thing starts to get activated, where the soul starts to go, okay, now it's time for me to, in a sense, start reconstructing the nature of my reality relative to what life I want. So the first part of your Saturn return is involution. And this is when everything around you starts to dissolve. And what happens is as things start to dissolve around you, okay, your sense of security starts to be removed, because what happens is that old thought forms, okay, old definitions that are now starting to dissolve, remove the sense of security, i.e. the known, what I have known to be, okay? And the way that it gets experienced is through the confrontation from Pluto, i.e. Scorpio, saying this is a limitation. This area of your life is holding you back. This is not giving you any growth. And the sextile between the Capricorn and Scorpio, and the natural sextile between Capricorn and Pisces, is the relationship between limitation, because of the definition, that then needs to get dissolved, that then creates the removal of all that has known, okay, that has come before, i.e. security. Now, as this is transforming for you, as you're starting to confront all these limitations, imagine this, the container in which your life exists within, in other words, think about the life that you live, that has a structure to it. And that reality has been created based on that structure that you are holding. So what the Saturn return comes and does in that involution period is it smashes and destroys the structure that has existed. And it removes that space in which your life is contained in, which is why everything feels like it's falling apart, right? Pisces, dissolving, right? And everything's ending, Scorpio, that's challenging your security. You see how this work is trying to manifest you. And through that connection, there is that definition that's ending. And then what happens is that you experience incredible amounts of inward reflection, okay? Now, this is one thing that I need to really encourage you guys to understand about the nature of the zodiac, is that in consciousness, Capricorn itself reflects the shell, and when you are in a shell and you're protected by that, or you're in that, it causes a reflection where you spend time inwardly going within yourself, so to become introverted in that way. And what happens is that as you access inner parts of yourself, you then start to reflect. You start to reflect inwardly, and that reflection, Cancer, remember that it's a water sign, and when you look at the moon, the water, etc., when you are reflecting, what you are experiencing is then this transformation and this transmutation. This is actually how the caterpillar turns into the butterfly. Exactly here. It has a definition, okay, that contains the essence of what it is, the egocentric structure. And then what happens is that it goes from the caterpillar. So we understand a caterpillar to have certain behavior patterns and definitions. So through transmutation, Scorpio, it connects, it dissolves in that way, which changes the definition. And then what happens is that as it transmutes itself into a new egocentric structure, it then becomes newly defined into a butterfly. You see how this is working? You see how this is working? The spiritual transmutation takes place in terms of the nature of the caterpillar into the butterfly. This is how it works. It has new definition based on its new egocentric structure that it holds, and that transmutation takes place, that new form, something that was in one form that is now completely in a different form. And that being the whole Pisces thing as well, in that sense, right? So again, what I wanted to say to you guys is that that inner reflection period, that cocoon period, is where you experience introvertedness, you experience melancholy, you experience being blocked from environments, you experience the struggles and so on and so forth. And what you have to do as a human being is really connect to the space of consistency. And that's one thing that I really want to encourage when understanding your Saturn return, is that when you're building something, when you're reconstructing something, every single day you need to be going there, putting stuff into your consciousness that creates new form. Otherwise it just dissipates, it just dissolves, right? You see this point I'm trying to make. And so when it comes to your Saturn return, it's about consciously every single day putting stuff in to place, and then eventually over a period of time you will start to see the new definition form. So you build a house, you have an idea, Neptune, all right, and a sort of like perspective of it. And what happens is every single day, through consistency, fourth house stuff, right? In that particular instance, you're constantly putting stuff into your reality that redefines you, that brings transmutation and a complete spiritual, what's the word I'm looking for? Like spiritual transformation. You've completely and utterly transmuted yourself in that sense. Okay. And then what happens is that you become newly defined. So I can use my own story in that case, where the last 2 years has been what my Saturn return's been about, and I've confronted all the limitations, and then I spent a great deal of time reflecting on the new desires that were emanating from my soul, and then through that consistency of every single day building, raising vibrations, doing etc., I created a whole new container to put my new life into it that can carry me, right, in that sense. Now I wanted to show you guys this picture over here. We flip it the other way around. Now all of a sudden we've got an earth trine, okay? And we've got the water sextile. Now what's interesting here is that you've got the earth trine interacting with water, and that's how it looks in nature. Earth interacts with water, fire with air, and so on and so forth. So what happens here is that earth gives the essential like stability and structure, so that the river or the water flows through. And you see how this works. So as you're confronting the nature of your inner self and you're reflecting on your inner emotions, you are constantly creating new direction that is essentially guided by the shape in which the practical means in which you go about creating that reality manifest. Which is why the Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo archetype in terms of the Earth trine naturally guide that. And this is where the transmutation takes place, right? In terms of the fact that Taurus reflects that inner dialogue that you have to yourself. So my inward relationship to myself. And then you have basically this natural trine between Taurus and Virgo. And Virgo, remember, is analysis. And so you have inner analysis because they are supporting each other. This is the thing that I need you to know, is that in the zodiac, all signs help each other out. So even this particular instance, Aries makes a natural inconjunct to Virgo, and that creates the necessary realignment process. So even in this definition here, this is also interacting with this, but this is the primary thing that I'm trying to show you. So when consciousness works, your inner dialogue to yourself, right, and analysis reflects the change that will be taking place within yourself. It creates the new definition in that sense. This natural connection here between the 6th, 2nd, and 4th is how the inner relationship to yourself is relating to your egocentric structure that is transmuting itself based on the building process, the step-by-step process. Because remember, Virgo correlates to doing something in a routined way constantly every single time. So by constantly doing the same thing every single day and analyzing within, you're creating new definition that's changing the way that you interrelate to yourself, which then completely and utterly transforms and transmutes the inner identity that you have, right? In this particular instance. You see how that's working? Pretty neat. I'm really interested to see what you think about this video. Please, write in the comments below, everyone, and share with me the perspective that you got from it. I highly sort of like encourage that interaction with myself. If this was something that you felt you got a lot of information from, like I said, then please feel free to write in the comments below, guys. So, and this is going in the article that I'm busy writing at this stage, and about how to really access the depths of the Saturn return and understanding those Saturn cycles. So yeah, what else did I want to speak about in the sense? Currently at the moment, I've got a new, I've got lots and lots of other articles coming out. The one that I think you'll be really interested to know is the 2015 report. I'll be sharing some information about how, or what I see in terms of how to take best advantage of the year, and what sort of like planetary alignments will be really affecting us. in that sense, and it will be a lot of inspiration as well. I think it's really important that we step into a space within our lives that has a lot of inspiration. I've noticed that many of us need that. So inspiration is a big key. If you can constantly, every single day, fill a lot of your day with a lot of inspiration, whether whatever it might be, then that's something that really raises your vibration at this stage. I've noticed that that's actually got to do with the Neptune transit through Pisces. Remember again that Pisces and Neptune in itself correlates to consciousness and the God vibration or love vibration, but it is inspiration. That's what inspiration is, which is one of the reasons as to why we might not necessarily have inspiration when we experience our Saturn cycles, because it's that natural connection towards Capricorn that creates this heaviness to slow down. That's actually one thing that I want to share with you, was the slowing down process that actually happens during the Saturn cycle. It's very important to understand that it's a time where everything slows down, and that's when you take the opportunity to reflect and say, okay, this is not longer working for me, this is no longer working for me, that's not part of the stuff, this doesn't fit you, etc., etc. So yeah, Saturn and Sagittarius articles also coming out, and that one I'm spending a lot of time on. In fact, I'm downloading a lot of stuff at this stage regarding that. I have been told that it needs to be released at the right time. So I haven't actually been shown exactly when that is the case in terms of when that comes out, but it is going to be shortly, should I say. But I don't know exactly when. I get a lot of inspiration to write an article, and I get a lot of inspiration from like random stuff, where I'll be just random stuff will happen where it will show me, hey, by the way, this is an article that you need to write. And it's like, okay, yeah, we'll do that in that sense. And then I get those downloads straight away. So it's pretty neat that way. But the Saturn Sagittarius article is big. I can feel it. It's a really, really important one as well, but it's taking some time. But I hope to get that out to you guys very shortly in that sense. Like I said, it's going to be very different to the way that you've experienced Saturn Sagittarius reports. It's going to be very deep in that way. And so, yeah. And then what else is there? There's the Evolutionary Astrology article that I've written as well, or have written, and it's now being edited. And that one I wrote specifically to encourage you to really understand the nature of how powerful this tool can actually be. In that sense, it gives you a lot of objectivity about what type of dynamics are playing out in your consciousness. And you can see over there that I've actually used some of the evolutionary astrology techniques to really convey a very deep symbolic representation or message about the nature of consciousness and how it works. So I'll be interested to see how many people actually respond back to that article and to that video, because it is really written to encourage you to step into a space where if you're looking for spiritual transformation, or you're looking at the nature of your soul in that way, that this is a really great tool. It does that in that sense. And in fact, this is what I wanted to speak to you guys about as well, is, it's given me an incredible amount of spiritual healing. And, it's quite an interesting space for me to connect to. I definitely want to open up to you and really show you what type of signature I have within my own chart in that way. I mentioned earlier about the relationship that I have with Saturn, the Sun, Mercury, and Pluto all in the 10th house in Scorpio. A large part of my soul has experienced or has internalized an incredible amount of judgment and persecution. There's incredibly deep and complex tapes that are playing around in my mind and my consciousness, where I've internalized, like I said, this false judgment and persecution. And what happens is that there's parts of me that will sometimes not even be able to express what it is that I feel, because the emotion associated with what might come back at me if I say that is it's intense. It's almost as if my hearing has been distorted to the point where I can't actually hear somebody speak about something without feeling like I've done something wrong in that way. And that's a really strong Capricorn signature, because of the nature of living lives under oppression and living lives under a suppression in that way, where there's this form of or this container, and all the types of ways that you live and the rules and regulations associated with that have basically got this this container, like I said. And if you act Aquarius, which there is a lot of it in my chart, when you act that in an Aquarian way, you break the form. But because there is so much judgment about holding the form, if you are behaving in a way that, like I said, is being Aquarius, you will have a lot of persecution and judgment come from you, because essentially you're doing it wrong, or you're breaking the rules, or that's not allowed, etc. So my soul has experienced or has internalized a lot of false judgment, where if I do something, am I going to be judged for it? And a lot of you might even feel that within your own soul. As if you've got Mars in Capricorn or Venus in Capricorn or a strong Capricorn signature, those will manifest there. And there's a lot of healing to be taking place, in my opinion, when it comes to that. And I'm working a lot through that at this stage. Capricorn can be quite difficult in that sense, but the essence of what you're supposed to do, at least, is to recognize that within yourself, these are firstly judgments and persecutions of tapes that are constantly playing in your mind, and to objectify them, to recognize and say, is this my consciousness doing this to me, or does it actually mean the case? And when you do that, you get this opportunity to break free from that sort of prison that holds your emotions closed in that way. So if anybody that has that, if you do feel that way in that sense, that is the solution to that way. And I know that many of you that are born between 1988 and 1995 will have Neptune and Uranus in Capricorn. And a big part of my own work is actually connecting to my own trauma in that way, and then offering you the sense of understanding about how to actually go through that cycle, because that's a conjunction in the astrology chart that's got a lot of healing that needs to be done. And there's nobody that's actually really accessing that space. So many of you are running around going, distorted, damaged relationships to authority figures, and to the nature of how you internalize your own authority in that way. It's very damaged in that sense. Because of many of you will have relationships with the father that is non-existent, or that is there but was really traumatic in that sense. So if it is the case, come over to my website, check out the services that I do. I'm actually working on this, and I'd love to be able to work with you and also do a lot of research. I am in the process of wanting to create an article that's specifically designed for you as well in that way. So hopefully, if there's any of you that are out there, please contact me in that sense. Yeah, so coming back to my own stuff in that way, it's really, really interesting, because now I've also got Mars and Venus at a complete conjunction in my chart, and it's also correlated to a soul that has completely and utterly taken his desires, thrown them aside, and say, I don't deserve it, which is intense, because they're up until recently, I've experienced that, where that's that Virgo archetype of inward sense of lack, or that I'm not good enough, and so on and so forth. And again, those tapes playing with Capricorn. Remember I showed you that there was the natural trine between Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn. And that's what happens. Taurus correlates to your inward dialogue to yourself. Virgo is the analysis and the compartmentalization. And Capricorn will reflect that sense of judgment. So you've got inner judgment that affects your inner dialogue, and that creates that criticism and judgment. So wherever you are in your astrology charts, that natural trine will be playing around over there. And if you've got emphasized, it's definitely a part of your consciousness that would have experienced some form of slavery even in that way. The best way to heal through that is to constantly remind yourself and objectify your reality and say, is this my own consciousness or mind, or is this actually happening to me? And to apply incredible amounts of self-acceptance and self-love. And to really connect to a space where incredible amounts of compassion and empathy is given to you. To allow yourself to have that. It's okay. The value is in the effort in that sense. So I've been applying that to my own consciousness in that way, and I've got a lot of healing that's been taking place for me. But it's definitely been an interesting journey, especially with the Uranus-Pluto square that's taking place, because that not only has it really been bringing up to our consciousness and floating through to our consciousness, all the traumas and all the attachments that are no longer present for a higher frequency. It's also been offering that for me, where I've had to really step up and say, okay, that's not myself. This is, false judgments and so on and so forth. So really, really powerful stuff through evolutionary astrology that's helped me, deal with that stuff. But at the same time, what I've stepped into as I've recognized through my Saturn return is not only that my consciousness has this beautiful way of being my own teacher. I literally am my own teacher in that way, where I get the downloads necessary for whatever it is, pardon me, and then I use my hands, Virgo, etc., to literally communicate that, crystallize it into thoughts, crystallize it into form, put it into a video, what it is that my thoughts are saying, and integrate that. And I actually have Neptune oppose the moon in my astrology charts, and that can be sometimes, any of you guys that have got Neptune aspecting the moon, requires incredible amounts of internal security, and you also need to learn to integrate your spiritual consciousness into your physical body as well. So for me, as I'm talking to you right now, not only is this YouTube channel designed to share with you aspects about astrology, but it's teaching me how to take incredibly complex thought forms that I have and integrate it into the physical so that you understand what it is that I'm trying to say and also benefit from it. And you actually experience an incredible amount of spiritual evolution when you do that, because you're consistently, moon, fourth house, Cancer, integrating new thought forms and ideas into your consciousness using the diagrams I showed you earlier, and you're actually manifesting. That is the archetype of manifestation, what I just showed you right now. That's how it works, so yeah. What else is there to share with you guys today? I mean, there's not much. I've got a house naturally. I've got a video on houses that I'll be sharing with you on the YouTube channel. I'll probably release that maybe on Saturday. And the Uranus series, that's something that I really want to do, to let you know that I am doing it at the moment. I've decided to do all of them at once, and then I'm going to upload them all at once so that nobody's waiting for it. I can think that can be quite frustrating, so I do apologize. But I've got so much to do at this stage, including the anticipation of a new child. So that's 3 or 2, should I say, in that way. So that's going to be a lot of time-consuming stuff, but I hope to really, bring through some more astrology. I will be doing the full moon and new moon reports. I'm actually teaching at the moment, or beginning on Sunday, an astrology school. So if any of you are interested in that, please sign up. You can either make a full payment for the whole course, or you can pay on a weekly basis. And it's loads of fun. I teach you everything that you need to know about beginner astrology. And as you can see, that's pretty much how I'm going to teach you through the natural zodiac. So you've even got a bit of a taster on that sense. And in the description below, I'll put a video relating to a video that specifically talks about what you'll be experiencing. So check that out as well if you are interested. Guys, I think that's about it, to be honest. That's pretty much it. I think this has become a natural ending over here. I really hope that you enjoyed listening to me just ramble on about things and you got something out of this. If you're interested in chatting to me through Skype and such, you can book a session with myself, support Raising Vibrations, give me a little bit of love in that way, and I'll be happy to chat to you about questions that you have about astrology and so on and so forth. And if you're interested in actually wanting to know your soul's journey, I do have readings and so on and so forth. Great, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to this. I truly appreciate it. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye.